to the channel. FUBAR here, and today we are doing a follow-up video on my priority officers video. This was a video request by the following subscriber. Thank you for the support. Your kind words mean a lot to me, and I'm more than happy to break this down. Now, to answer one of your questions about what officers we're sacrificing, pretty much a lot of people do not stack a lot into base defense, and they are more offense. Now, I apologize if my voice is off. I'm still recovering from a cold, and I'm trying to stifle. So we're gonna get into the nitty gritty here. Now, what we're trying to do is maximize our defense and keep the maximum amount of firepower possible. That is the theory. Okay. Now, as you can see right here, this is the ground force setup in the priority list of how I would have it set up. The only difference that would be changed would be Valkyrie and Golden Eagle. Golden Eagle will be where Valkyrie is, and in replacement of Golden Eagle, after I finish Saber of the Nation, I am going to be working on Red Heat to put together with Maestro. Now, how I would use this setup if I'm active is if I was being attacked, I would be popping out my heli because that is the most viable troop to keep going. Okay? I pop out the heli and put it right back in. So I'd have it like this: pop, pop, like it hit my target, put it back in, real quick. This setup is more so for offline based defense and providing a lot of support. Hence why I am focusing so heavy right now on my Air Force, because I want to have at least one strong bomber, one strong fighter, and I'm working on a Vanguard bomber, and I have a Vanguard fighter. So, going forward, there is some things changing. As you can see right here, I have a Martyr MBT. In the future, I am switching that out to a Liberty MBT for camp buff. And my Vanguard fighter will be swapping out for a Liberty fighter. So, let's do a breakdown of the setup. So, back to here. We're going to start with the MBT and then work our way all the way up to the top because that's where the majority of our base defense officers are. So we're going to have Thorn Countess as the captain and Steel Fighter as the aide to maximize our base shield. On our skill tabs, we are going to stack as much HP as possible into this unit. So balance skills and skills that provide HP for the protection skill. The reason why we're doing this is because the base shield or unit shield is directly affected by the unit's HP. So the higher your HP, the higher the shield you're going to have. Now, as you can see right here, I have Tip of Spear and Box. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, why Tip of Spear? Well, the reason why we're going to go to Tip of Spear, and I'm going to break it down like this real quick. We're going to go right to him. When he is in base, he is actually buffing all the troops in base. Because your base is condensed down to a simple couple of grids, not a lot. And as you can see right here, he buffs all ground troops within 2 map grids by 7%, which is the firepower, for 4 seconds. Now, if it's also a captain, he reduces the prep time of their troops' skills by 1.5 seconds, which is huge because we want to keep Valkyrie's tactical skill up as much as possible. This is going to keep a permanent 30% base damage resist on at all times, other than the first 7.5 seconds of the battle. And that is huge. And we're currently working on Awakening Vox now. And as you can see here, when she is trained and fully awakened, she will have the prep time of the garrisoned officers' skills reduced by 0.5 seconds, which is another huge bonus. because this means now your base shield's releasing 0. 0.5 seconds faster. You're going to be you're pretty much proccing all your skills faster, and that's what we want. Now, her awakened skill, as you can see right here, reduces the damage coming to base from officer skills by 30%. Now, this is a big number, but it actually stacks with Uncle's awakened skill, which reduces another 40% of officer skill damage coming to base. That is huge, and it is very big, and that is important. Now, his second skill also reduces incoming normal attack damage towards the base as long as he's garrisoned, and that also works well with Thorin Countess's 10% off the base damage she receives from normal attacks. So what we're getting there is 70% officer skill damage reduction and 20% normal attack damage reduction. So right there you got 70% plus the 20% off on the normal and now also 70% for the officer skill damage. And we got a base shield. And we already magically have 30% of the base damage resist. And this is just officer right now. Now, when we replace Valkyrie with Golden Eagle, as you can see right there. Oh man, sorry about that. If we scroll down to Golden Eagle, his fourth skill is going to increase our base damage resist by an additional 10%. So now we're at 40%. And if you look at Stinger Fist, he's going to actually reduce the base damage. He's going to increase the base damage resist by an additional 5%, bringing that up to 45%, which is, again, huge because now you're getting almost a 50% base damage resist just from officers. And this is before you share the skills, which I would not do with these officers. I would actually stack offensive skills on these officers because they're two amazing officers, and that's why I'm keeping them in my base. And I would actually drop Valkyrie for him. Now, what for? I mean, when I say him, I mean Golden Eagle. But when I do drop Valkyrie, I'm going to actually use her third skill on Golden Eagle because that is such a valuable skill, and I think that's what really makes Valkyrie great. So, now that you get that, now let's talk about why I'm choosing Maestro and Red Heat, Argent Flame, and Stinger Fist. Now, like I said, we want to maximize on the damage. So, everyone knows the ATG does great damage against the MBT helicopters, the SH unit, and the reason for that is because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to take out armored targets, and the howitzer, is just always been king at taking out units. So here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with Argent Flame and Stinger Fist. With Argent Flame, we're gonna stack garrison damage on his skill tabs, along with also Stinger Fist, and we're gonna try packing in as much damage output as possible on these guys. So this means we could also take Antonina's fourth and put that on there if we wanted, and that would work great. Because if you look, actually, I should show you that. If you look at Antonina's fourth, she actually buffs all officers in the troop by 25% on their skill damage, which is huge when you're actually adding that in with Argent Flame. Because if you look at Argent Flame's tactical skill, he's going to increase the skill damage by already 25%. So now you got an additional 50%. That is big. That is really, really big. And on top of that, he already has amazing damage coefficient. He does AoE damage right there. And that is amazing as well. The only downside to Argent Flame, in my opinion, keyword in my opinion, is that his damage coefficient falls off a little bit with each additional troop. Now, however, on Stinger Fist, as you can see right here, he's going to do an additional 25% damage if he's garrisoned. That's amazing. And when he is awakened, yet again, he is attacking 3 additional troops. And Now, they do a damage coefficient of 600, and I think that's a little bit of the weak side, but that's why we're buffing up the skill damage and the garrison damage, so that way that damage just stacks and stacks, and we're maximizing the damage and reducing the sacrifice. Because infantry does not do a ton of damage, the MBT is not stacked for damage, and the helicopter is now using Uncle with Golden Eagle, and Golden Eagle is going to compensate for that. And also, we're going to have a little bit of a audible here with Uncle's Force skill that can increase the damage as well. So this is where everything is panning out. And keep in mind, Uncle also, this Uncle with Golden Eagle will be a viable setup as a bruiser setup for sending your heli out to rallies. Now, on to Maestro and Red Heat. We're going to start with Maestro. Maestro gets a lot of dislike within the community on the ATG. He was designed for the ATG, and a lot of people don't like him. But I do, and I'm going to explain why. As you can see right here, he does 1500 damage coefficient, additional damage for every target that he winds up staining, because he will set them on fire. Now, as we keep going through, he increases the officer's normal attack damage and pen damage. He also does the staining effect and reduces the armor, the damage resist, which is great, and it will spread to other units. And he also does gives a damage increase and a damage resist buff. But the biggest thing is when he's awakened, his damage coefficient jumps from 90 to 200 when it is done. And that is great because you can also stain airborne units if you do manage to pull them out at base. But here's why we're going to pair him with Red Heat. Red Heat deals directly with fire, kind of like El Cartero and Inferno, but she does automatically AoE damage. And this, when I say AoE damage, it means she's attacking multiple targets at once. So she goes up to 1,000 there, and she does an additional 200 per second for every second for 4 seconds. Great, but we can actually buff that, and this in turn will actually buff Maestro if stacked together. So she will increase the damage by 25%. She increases the fire damage by an additional 50%. So now that 200 tick is now pretty much like almost like a 300 to 400 tick. And that's pretty significant. And then she also increases skill damage. It was been proven by scopes that it's kind of bugged. I think it only affects her and not her ally. So keep that in mind. And he also proved that it was Professor Payne also has the same bug going on as well. But if you look at her awakened, now that we've said that, we are going to see right here that whenever this officer's artillery troop attacks, it has a 20% chance to reduce the skill prep time of all officers in their troop by 0.5 seconds. If the attack target is on fire, the prep time will be reduced by an additional 0.5 seconds, and it can be triggered once every 4 seconds. That is actually really huge because now you have pretty much a 40% chance to automatically reduce the skill time on your next skill. That is pretty significant because your units are always going to be on fire, and that is a very big plus to me. So that's how we're going to maximize our damage is through attacking multiple targets at once. And technically, if I wanted to, I could drop, like I said, Tip of Spear and put, like, say, White Wolf or Lonesome Star on there and do even more multiple target damage. But this right here is the cream of the crop, in my opinion. You're maximizing all your damage and you're keeping a maximum defense. And how I would also use this if I'm being attacked, say this right here is the bunker, is an artillery group approaching my base. I will send my fighter out first to provide cover. Then I'm going to aim for the strongest artillery and use my bomber to disengage them or make them slow down. Because my role as a supporter is to provide air support, and when our rallies overextend and get wiped out, it is my job to be on the front line and prevent them from burning my base and to reduce the number of rallies there so my alliance can come back and retrain and make the right push. However, the problem with this setup, and this is a very glaring problem, you cannot really effectively base to base with this setup. You have to bait your opponent to attacking you first, wiping him out, then launching in a counterattack. And it's still very hard to do with this setup with that said and done because you only have one artillery piece. Now, is it effective? Yes. Will you do chip damage? Yes. But usually 9 out of 10 times, your opponent is going to be smart enough to learn from that mistake and he's going to be less likely to attack. You're going to have rallies come in to try removing you, and that's where this base shines because we're going to be eating rallies. We're going to be doing the most amount of damage we can to these rallies, and that is our functional role. Now, like I said, we can still field fight with our helicopter. It's still going to be functional, and that is going to be amazing. Now, I want to also explain something right here. I'm going to show you something. This setup is going to be utilizing a 6-2 setup. That means 6 units of Liberty, 2 units of Vanguard, and you can see this right here, and I'm going to give you a little fun fact, okay? These individual setups actually stack together for a camp buff, and you can find it right here under your assembly plant, and you can see it right here on the first tab. So I'm going for a level 5 with my Liberty and a level 2 with my Vanguard. What this is going to provide me is a 20% buff to all my troops for both damage and base damage resist, and base damage, that's huge. You're getting a free 20% buff just by running 6 units. This is why I experiment. This is why I'm taking my time to grow now, because why not utilize this 20% buff? This is huge. It may take forever, but I'm going to have a 20% advantage at all times over my opponent just from running certain units. Now, with that said, I'm going to show you guys a little something something here. Right now, if we go over to this and we click on base, you can see that our base damage is at 55%, and we got an additional 13% of that, well, 13 right there from base buildings. This is pretty big, and we're not even near done yet. This is going to keep going higher. As you can see right here under camp skills, we are only utilizing 12 because I'm running a 4-3-1 right now as I'm swapping over. And keep in mind, this does not include our officer skills, our officer levels, our Herringers, our barracks, and some other techs that are not included. So that means right there that just from our officer skills that are not counted, we're getting an additional 45% in base damage resist. So you see that 57.75, we're now at 102.5. That's just in the current state of my base right now, because my setup is incomplete. We're not there yet. I'm building towards this setup. So once that's done, we are golden. We are Gucci. We're going to be doing absolute juggernaut worth of damage, and we'll be taking a beating. So if you guys found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you guys really do love the channel and you want to see combat footage, I'm going to be posting combat footage and other shorts on TikTok because I like the sound effects there. And 90% of the time, because I'm in Silver 1 and lower battlefields, most of the fights I get involved in are in hit and run tactics. And it's usually like a minute to almost 3 minutes long. And that is perfect for TikTok. So if you guys want to see combat footage, head on over to my TikTok, hit the follow button. The link for that will be in the description down below. Also, if you want to talk to me directly, join my Discord. I'm a member of FUBAR's Lounge. I run and manage that. You can talk to me directly there. Also, I support another lounge. that on Discord that I support. That is Warpath Lounge, and you can also talk to me directly there as well. Now, like I said before, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. This is FUBAR. I got your six. Peace.